Hello. In this video, I'm going to talk about backing up your stuff. So, coming personally from a programming coding mindset, I always try to back up all of my work because when you write code and when you write anything that takes incredibly long periods of time, you don't want the possibility of losing it one place means losing it all. And I know that's not 100%, but from my background, every time I would do a change, I would back it up to like a cloud system, basically someone else's computer where theoretically it would be safer to hold it. And in the event, if my computer gets lost or breaks or something like that, hopefully I'm not jinxing myself in any way, but if something like that happens, it would still exist. Like, I wouldn't be all lost. Like, I would just lost my computer. I wouldn't want to lose anything, to be honest. But the point I'm trying to say is that it is incredibly important to be aware of the stuff that you have, the time it takes you to make stuff, and migration if you need to. So, if I was going to give any advice to anyone, I would say get a external hard drive. And I can't remember the exact one that I got, but I would just recommend getting one with a lot of memory. That way you could back up all the files that you need to. Like, if you're coming from an art background, there's a chance that you may have specific files of some sort, like, I don't know, maybe like a Photoshop file or something specific to the art program that you work with. And those are files, like, you wouldn't want to put out there, unless you want to, but they're more the files that you want for your own personal reference. And, like, personally me, like, I have a lot of applications, and you may be asking me, why don't I store my applications elsewhere? Why do I store it on a local hard drive? Well, there's compiled applications which are ready to be released to the public, and then there's my running in code version. They kind of exist separately, but I make sure to always back everything up to an external hard drive, and I highly recommend it. I'm talking about all files. Like, I'm talking about common files, tax documents, if you have any. I don't yet. You understand the point. We're talking about any docs files. If I had to give you another recommendation, there is Google Sheets and those other things. LibreOffice, they also have like a whole suite. It's like an open source, like regular documents and all that stuff. Yeah, the LibreOffice tools are really good. So we covered that. The other thing that I would recommend is if you're working with traditional media, and this is going to sound a little weird, make a document that lists all of your supplies and where you got them from. The reason why I say that is considering, I've gotten many of my tools from many different places. So, yeah, receipts for the stuff I bought exist in my email. Some of them may not because I bought them in person. And the thing that I've realized is it's great to have a paper trail of all your supplies, plus where you got them from. Because in the event you can find a receipt or the item that you have doesn't have any like name brand thing on it or something like that, it's great that you have a list now to rely upon. And I would highly recommend that you start making this list for yourself. I know it's really annoying to create, but it's a great way to back up everything. Like, say, even if you have something with a name on it, say what happens if maybe the label of the name falls off or it gets broken and you can't make out the name. And you're like, well, darn, now I need to find this, but I don't know where to find it. It's annoying stuff like that you can prevent, and perhaps I'm being a little bit too picky when it comes to this, but I just highly recommend you do that. It could be a great way to organize yourself, and of course you back up that document on, say, an external hard drive. The other thing I didn't mention, you can use cloud storage, but the things that I've learned about cloud storage, there are weird things that can occur. I think cloud storage is a great solution, but more often than not, you're going to have to pay a monthly fee. And personally, I try not to pay monthly fees to anything. Um, Perhaps it's because I haven't the need for it. There are probably people that need it, probably like larger companies or organizations. And personally, I find cloud storage a bit absurd. I've used it many times. I even programmed with cloud storage, specifically AWS. Um, and the thing that I've realized is it's incredibly overkill, and you may not need it. And there's also a possibility that it could always disappear. I know that's weird to say, but that kind of segues into my next thing. Sometimes you may find a website you like, and it doesn't like. So there's a website called the Wayback Machine that you can use. Or like archive.org Wayback Machine, and you can look at previous copies of a website. And I think that's a great thing. Another thing, which kind of gets more into the programming side of things, and I'm not going to expect you to do this, but I will use this tool. And it's not easy for a lot of people to use. It's called HTTP track. Basically, it allows you to run a command to make a local copy of an online website for offline. So it basically just takes all the files and makes it so you can browse them on your own computer. And I do use this for a few websites. The only reason why I do that is because I've realized that if you rely on some resource that's free and online, sometimes it can go away. And I don't like that, and I've seen it happen multiple times. I mean, even certain things that I would use on my job, I've seen them just say, okay, we went bankrupt, we can no longer provide the service, and then like you're left scrambling trying to migrate to a new one, and it's a really big issue because you've spent all the time dealing with it. And now it's like, well, who knows how much stuff you have if you're on an enterprise scale. Imagine like if you're just one person, imagine the headache it causes. But if you're on the enterprise scale, can you imagine like it can take like a year or two for you to migrate all of the stuff or even make a plan for it. Um, so that's always been a little bit of my concern about cloud storage. Perhaps you are safe with it. I mean, there is cloud storage that's been around for a long time, so I'm probably just being like paranoid about it. But personally, it's things like that that makes me worry. There are other times like you may be using cloud storage and say it gives like 2 gigabytes free. Well, the company decides to make a new policy that says, okay, you can only have 1 gigabyte free, or like it was 2 gigabytes, but now you need to pay a subscription. So there's a chance that like if you don't, they could delete your storage, and it's just because I've been burned so many times and that I've had experiences like this to kind of make me worry about it. If you were going to get an external hard drive, it could be beneficial. Like, you know, I only have one, but it may be safer for you to get two. And I would also, this is going to sound paranoid as heck, get a fireproof box to put one in. That could be incredibly helpful. I mean, nothing can stop like an act of God. Sometimes it's meant to be, I hate to say. But things like this can be incredibly beneficial. So I've mentioned that. The other thing, your email. I would always make sure that you have things like your bookmarks, important emails, saved locally somehow. I know that may not be the easiest thing. You could use like free services. Like I do like Gmail and I do use Gmail, but it is possible for you to pay for one connected to your domain name. If you have a domain name, currently I don't pay for one. I just like to use Gmail instead because every other mail service requires that you pay usually a monthly fee. Maybe it's a yearly fee. It's not that much, and you do get a lot more control, but it's a little bit difficult to set up if you're not used to doing that. And but yeah, bookmarks. Any important bookmarks you have with a browser, those are also incredibly important things to back up. Sometimes even software configuration. They're usually things called config files. Say like you have settings set, like you have everything in your art program set up how you want it to be. There's a good chance that you can take that config file and say you have another computer. You just transfer that one file and you drop it into the proper location, and you have the same art application on another computer, well, it saves all of the configuration and settings that you dealt with, and it lets you use it on the other computer. So if you back up that file, you'll have no problem going to another computer fastly. And I know that sounds a bit weird, but I have run into an occasion or two when I've needed that. So I would highly recommend it. I would say another thing is a list of software, a list of all software services that you use. When I deal with computers, I use a ton of different software, and I do know it all in my head, but I will be 100% honest with you. It could be incredibly important to having an organized list of the software that you truly need, because there's a chance that if you have like a computer failure or something like that, you're going to be scrambling to download all of those applications once you get a new one. The thing that I've realized that if you are relying on any type of online service, like, I use YouTube a lot, I upload to my YouTube channel, I have an email list, I work on a lot of code, and I've realized that, it's just outrageous how much software we use. I mean, there's a lot of different tools we need to get the job done, and there's a chance that if you have that list and you go to a new computer, great, you know exactly what you need. But there's a chance that, like, if you're finding it out as you go, there's like, okay, I need this. Okay, I need to open this program. You're like, wait a minute, I didn't install this program, so now you have to take a 5 to 10 minute break to install the software program on your computer, and it's a huge pain in the butt to do. But if you have that list, you are good. I mean, you could be good. You're more well prepared, is what I'll say. So. I talked about most of the things that I wanted to cover. I would also say if you have documents like things on copyrights or legal, always back those up. 2 hard drives, 2 external hard drives. That's really what I would recommend. You pay, maybe you're paying like maybe $200 for both, or maybe even just one. So it's really just $100 for 2. I don't really know. I mean, you could just look around. I mean, luckily, external hard drives get cheaper over time and with more memory, I believe. So yeah, it's really incredibly important to be aware of this stuff, and I say this out of compassion. Luckily, I have not had to go through the experience in my personal life losing everything, but I have had a work computer fail on me, and that was awful, because it was a total scramble. 1, they didn't have a backup one for me. 2, this was during the Pandy, and they had to order one for me, so it was like I had all this work to get done, and I couldn't get it done because I needed my specific tools. And considering I don't want to annoy you with this, but I work with a lot of command line tools, and the problem was when you use command line tools, sometimes it takes a while for the things to install. Some of them are really fast, but sometimes there's just a lot of tech that I maintain. It's a bit absurd, and it can cause I feel like it's a nightmare evoking in some if I would really list out everything I maintained. But the fact that I was without, luckily I made a time machine backup, so I was able to easily get everything back fast. But I was still without a computer for a couple days, and the thing about that is it's like I still have to get stuff done even though I can't get it done. So imagine if you had an art business. Sorry, I stuttered. If you had an art business and you lose everything, and it's just like it's gonna take you probably a day or two, maybe even longer, to get a new computer and all that to catch up, and it's such a pain, but it's something to definitely be aware of. Better safe than sorry, so to say. Yeah, and I hope this video does help you in some way. I say this out of compassion. I'm pretty sure that even if you're a traditional artist compared to being a digital artist, you're going to have stuff digitally that you want to back up. Like, you're probably doing something online, something with social media, and you want to be aware. Like, I would also say, list out social media accounts. It's important that you are just aware of the you don't have to list the password. You could write down the passwords physically, but just be aware of all of this. If you do have it backed up digitally with like something like a Linktree, that could be good. But yeah, it's incredibly important to be aware of all of this. I say this out of, as I said before, like 3 times, out of compassion to get you back up and running in the event something does happen. Hopefully, it never happens, but it's something that I feel like a lot of my personal experiences dealing with tech can help you with. And so I truly do hope this video helps you. If you do have any other questions, please ask in the comments, and perhaps I could touch upon them if need be. I do apologize if a lot of the things I list are a bit too technical for people. I feel like with a lot of the art stuff, I can really try to drill into it and break it down. But a lot of the programming stuff, and granted, I'm not like dealing too deeply. Like, I have friends that deal on much lower level stuff, but the stuff that I'm doing is probably still very complicated to anyone who is just an artist. I don't mean that as an insult. I just mean it in the sense of, different career paths, different things to understand and learn and do, and things like these are probably not your main priority. So that's completely understandable. So please, I hope it doesn't come off, or I come off as arrogant, or if I come off as too technical, because I always do try to keep that in mind, and I do have a good deal of a curse of knowledge when it comes to tech stuff. So yeah, that's all I'll say. Thank you very much for listening. Bye.